The Vergas Show is brought to you by Spanky Stone Hearth, casual fine dining on beautiful Rose Lake. Vergas State Bank, your locally owned community full-service bank. Vergas Event Center for gatherings large or small, including weddings. Vergas Liquor Store, where all the profits profit Vergas.
Make the right call. Call Hanson's, the most trusted name in plumbing and heating.
Hi, welcome to the Vergas Show. I'm Sherry Hanson. Thanks for joining me today. We are in the lower level of the bank. I'm here with Tom Winters. Thanks for joining me today, Tom.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm not sure if a lot of you realize, but in the Vergas State Bank, in their lower level, we offer professional services. Tom comes and offers legal services, and then we also have Brad Helmke that offers accounting services. And so I think you can talk to anybody here at the bank, one of the front teller line, and they can give you some more information on that if you're looking about it. But today we get the privilege of actually talking to Tom and telling us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about what services you do offer. We previously had Greg Larson, who closed his practice, and Scott Dirks, if I really want to date myself, we can go all the way that back. And it's nice not only for us as a bank to be able to have somebody that we can talk to about legal needs that we need, but you as a consumer can come in and talk to Tom too. So tell me a little bit about yourself, Tom, and welcome to Vergas.
Thank you. I've been an attorney since 2009.
Okay.
I started my practice the first year I worked down in the cities right out of law school, and then I moved up to Detroit Lakes in 2010, and I've been an attorney there since.
Okay, what firm are you with?
With the Ramstead, Schoyles, Winters and Bakken firm.
Okay.
Right downtown DL, and
Sure.
I merged with them. I had my own practice right when I moved up here in 2010, and then I merged with them back in 2016, and I've been a partner there ever since.
Sure. Where did you go to law school at?
I went to law school at William Mitchell in St. Paul.
Okay. Yep. And then family, where you have a family in Detroit Lakes then?
Yep, so I met my wife up here in Detroit Lakes, and we have 4 kids. Johnny, our oldest, is 6, and then we have a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old.
You have 6 children under 6, or 5 children under
4 children.
4 children under
Yes.
6. Yeah,
Yes.
under 6. Yeah, I thought of that 6-year-old and going down, and so
Yep.
you have a busy household.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
and so what prompted you to want to seek to come into the Vergas community? And we're happy to have you here, by the way.
Yeah, well, I became the city attorney for the city of Vergas.
That's right, you are the city attorney.
And then, it's a nice small community, and there is no legal service here. So I spoke with the bank, and they said that they routinely had someone here, and
We did.
it's just a great fit.
What are your office hours over here in Vergas?
So generally, I'm here Tuesdays from 9 to 4:30.
Okay.
Of course, there's times where mediations or something comes
Sure.
up where it takes me out, but that's generally what I try to be here is from 9 to 4:30.
And so if somebody just wants to pop in, but how about if they want to make an appointment?
If they want to make an appointment, they should call my office.
In Detroit Lakes?
In Detroit Lakes, yeah.
Okay.
So that number is 218-847-5653. And Sandy will help set up an appointment for Tuesdays in Vergas.
For Tuesdays over here. So most lawyers' specialty, what is yours?
My main specialty is estate planning. So wills, trusts, powers of attorney, things like that.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about estate planning. Tell me the basics of it, what somebody should be doing, how you should be preparing, if you were to advise somebody.
Sure. It's kind of a loaded question. Everyone's is a little bit different.
Right.
But essentially, I think one big misconception about estate planning is a lot of people think that it's for the elders or when you get later in life. In my opinion, some of the most important people to have estate plans are someone like myself that has young children, to plan for what happens. God forbid something happens to you when you do have small children. So you can plan for where the children go, set up some sort of trust so that they're not gaining access to all of your assets right away. But then it's obviously very important. The elderly, we're looking more so at avoiding probate or helping with nursing home care, things like that.
So when you talk, when I hear estate planning too, I think, only people that have just a lot of wealth. Is there any truth to that?
No.
Okay.
Everyone should have the 3 main documents. I think everybody should have is number 1, a will. That does not avoid probate, but it kind of dictates where the court helps distribute where your assets go.
Okay.
A financial power of attorney. that allows someone to kind of take over your finances if you become incapacitated or not mentally incapable of making those decisions. And then a healthcare directive allows someone to take over your healthcare needs if you're unable to speak. Those last two documents, the power of attorney and the healthcare directive, that saves very costly guardianship proceedings, which a family would have to go through the court systems if you do not have those documents done. And all of a sudden something happens, you're in an accident, or if you get dementia and you can't make those decisions, your family would have to go through very expensive court proceedings to do that.
What it basically is a gift to your family.
Absolutely, yes.
Because and then in those situations, but it's 100% chance that we're all going to die.
Yes.
And so you want to be able to, when that does happen, and whether it's untimely or if it's whether you know that it's coming or your family knows that it's coming, to have those documents in place is really important.
Correct.
Okay, so explain a power attorney to me versus a personal representative.
So a power of attorney is during your lifetime. So that's someone that can take over all your finances, work with you, work with your checkbook, pay your bills, do all of that stuff during your lifetime. Upon your death, those powers cease for the power of attorney. And then it becomes the power of the personal representative or the executor of your estate that would do that.
Okay, so someone would come into your office and they'd say, okay, Tom, I just want to make sure that when I die that I own land, I've got some financial things in the bank, have a house. I want everything for my kids to be okay so that they don't have to worry about anything. What would you advise at that point?
It depends. Sometimes, depending upon their wealth, a trust might be the best vehicle for that. Trusts tend to be somewhat expensive, so I'm more leer on the side of not doing those if the estate is not as
not excessive. Yeah.
Excessive, correct. Yep. There's different ways that we can avoid probate without using a trust. There's a transfer. So probate happens if there are $75,000 worth of assets that do not have beneficiaries attached. So if you have a savings account that has $80,000 on, that you don't have a payable on death or something like that attached, it would trigger a probate, or if there's real estate involved. So if you own your house, then it would have to go through probate.
If you do own your house, you have to go through probate.
Correct.
Okay.
Now there's things that we can do to avoid that by doing what's called a transfer on death deed, which essentially attaches a beneficiary to your property.
Okay.
And then with bank accounts, as you know, working in the bank, you can do payable on deaths or beneficiaries and things like that. So I would sit with them, see what their assets are, and then develop a plan and say, do you have enough assets that we should be looking at a trust, or else let's do this. It ends up being about half the cost to do it with a transfer on death deed and talk with the banks and get the other way set up.
And then if you designate a power of attorney, can you change that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, it's absolutely revocable. A financial power of attorney, you do have to give notice to the power of attorney that you've changed it so that they know they don't have the powers anymore. Okay. But it
can be changed anytime, as long as you're not in
sound mind.
Sound mind to be able to do that. Tell me a little bit about wills.
So a will, like I said, it does not avoid probate. It's just more of a map for the probate process. It tells the court who you want to name as your executor. It tells them where you want your assets to go. And it allows, the wills that we draft allow you to make a list too for personal property. So if you have a wedding ring that you want to go to someone specific, you can list that in there. Okay. And it just saves a lot of fighting with the family.
Right, but it's not like a whole legal, like this is how it's going to happen, right? It's just kind of a will is doing is just saying, well, this is what mom wanted to happen.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
It is. I mean, it's legally binding. If the family were to start fighting over it, the court would take what the will says.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep.
And so that is that way.
Yep.
Do you deal at all with like irrevocable trusts, like for funeral home things and that too?
Yep. So that's one way. There's a lot of pre-planning that you can do to save your assets if you're looking at going into a nursing home. That's the most common time I see someone looking at prepaying their funeral.
Correct.
I think families should all do that. I think
absolutely.
It's a great, talking about gifts to give to your family, that's an amazing gift to give to your family.
Huge one.
It just saves them from doing a lot of overspending or even planning for the funeral.
And at that, when you're planning for a funeral, you're usually also dealing with the emotional grief.
Exactly.
And so then you're not always making those good decisions.
Right.
And so then if it's planned and this is how much there is,
and that's what mom and dad wanted, it's super easy for the family to get it done.
Right.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about you've done seminars and things before. Is that something you're maybe looking at doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. In the past, we had done seminars for estate planning, just kind of give an overview of what people should get done.
Right.
COVID kind of took those out, and I really haven't gotten back in the swing of them, but I do plan to start doing some of those again.
I think that would just be great, because I think everybody, like you say, and it doesn't matter of the age group, just having those resources and those tools to be able to help them give that gift to their children, or just even a gift to themselves, so that, because people work hard for their money and they work hard for what they have, and so it shouldn't just go,
Absolutely.
because you haven't planned for that. All right, well, Tom.
And yeah, I mean, the big thing about avoiding probate is the average probate ends up being, the quickest one that you can finish up is 6 months. So your family would essentially be stuck without having access to your assets for 6 months.
And that's a long time.
That's the shortest one. I mean, they generally will go a year, and then they end up costing roughly $4,000 to $5,000. So a lot of times we can do an entire estate planning for $1,200 or something like that to set up an estate. So you're doing about a 25% saving to your family too.
That's great. We got to close it today, but I think we're going to be hearing from you again when we talk about some of those seminars. So I appreciate you being here in Vergas. Welcome.
Thank you.
And you have a good day in Vergas.
All right, thank you.